African History Network, the African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to the African History Network show. It is Wednesday, September 23rd, 2021, and we are live. So, yesterday we got the news that legendary film director and actor Melvin Van Peebles passed away at age 89. Melvin Van Peebles passed away, and I did not get a chance to talk about it on yesterday's show. We just made a quick announcement. We had a jam-packed show on Wednesday, so I said we'll talk about it at the top of the hour on today's show. All right, so Melvin Van Peebles, champion of New Black Cinema, dies at 89. So I saw a number of articles written about him. I saw a good piece from the New York Times, also one from blackamericaweb.com as well, NPR, National Public Radio. A fertile creative force, he wrote fiction and musicals, but is best known for a breakthrough movie that heralded the generation known as blaxploitation. And this is basically known as the first blaxploitation film and kicked off that genre in 1971. All right. Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song. And I remember seeing this when I was a kid. It came on TV, and I think it was like on a Saturday or Sunday. It came on and I watched it. When I watched it as a child, I didn't understand it. When I watched it as an adult, I understood it more, but still some things I didn't understand. But it's just, but back then, 1971, just for us to see us on the screen and have this independent film, okay, was something. So we'll talk some about Melvin Van Peebles. We'll give an update on the tragic story of Jelani Day. We'll talk about that. And then thousands of Haitians are allowed to stay in the U.S. as Texas camp clears out. We did not get a chance to talk about about Haiti yesterday. Pretty much each day we've been given updates on it. Did not get a chance to do it yesterday, so we're gonna do it today. All right. And yes, that's Melvin Van Peebles. Yeah, the father, Melvin. All right. So on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com as well. To sign up for our email newsletter there also. Okay, so like I said, this has been an extremely busy day, and I was on the Hapi Talks panel discussion today with Dr. Leonard Jeffries, one of my teachers. Okay, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, and he's going to be here in Detroit this Sunday for the screening of the film Hapi at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. So we're going to have Felicia Hardin on in a few minutes to talk about that as well. Okay. All right. So Melvin Van Peebles, legendary film director, groundbreaking film, Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, passed away on Tuesday. Actually, we got the word Wednesday, but he actually passed away on Tuesday. He was 89 years old. A fertile creative force, he wrote fiction and musicals, but is best known for a breakthrough movie that heralded the genre as blaxploitation. Heralded the genre as blaxploitation. So if we look at this piece here from the New York Times, Melvin Van Peebles, the filmmaker, praised as the godfather of modern black cinema, and a trailblazer in American independent movies, passed away on Tuesday at his home in Manhattan. He was 89 years old. Now, his death was announced by his son, Mario Van Peebles, who's an actor and director. And Mario is a legend as well. And we know they were both involved in they both brought us the film Panther, which was about the Black Panther Party for self-defense from the 90s. I think it was 95, the film Panther. And we know Mario Van Peebles, New Jack City. He also directed one of the installments of the new Roots Reimagined, that aired on the A&E channels, the History channels, things like this back about 2016. Mario Van Peebles, the son, directed one of those 4 installments of that as well. Okay, so we got the news from the Sun. Okay, and let's pull this up here. Hold on, that's not what I want. Let's pull up this picture here. So we got the news from the Sun, Mario, that his father Melvin had passed away. All right. Now, his death was announced by his son, a Renaissance man whose work spanned theater and music. Melvin Van Peebles is best known for his third feature film, Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, which drew mixed reviews when it was released in 1971. Now, that's 50 years ago. Okay. 1971 was a fantastic year. Just so happened to be the year I was born. Okay, it's one of the greatest years in the history of recorded history. But the movie drew mixed reviews when it was released in 1971. It ignited intense debate and became a national hit. So the hero of the movie, his name was Sweetback, and he was portrayed by Melvin Van Peebles. Sweetback starred in a sex show at a brothel, and the movie sizzled with explosive violence, explicit sex, and righteous antagonism toward the white power structure. And this is one of the things that really ignited, because I remember he beat up a police officer in there. And so this is 3 years after Dr. King passed away. And I remember watching when I was young, and there's certain things I didn't understand and trying to figure it out. And then there was a movie that Mario directed, the son, where he portrayed his father, and it was dealing with the making of the movie Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song. And it was in watching that second movie that I really got to learn a lot more about Melvin Van Peebles. So the original movie, 1971, was dedicated to, quote, all the black brothers and sisters who have had enough of the man. All the black brothers and sisters who have had enough of the man. So this thing, I mean, this thing was monumental because, okay, you're looking at 6 years after Malcolm X is assassinated. You're looking at 3 years after Dr. King's assassinated. We know there were rebellions all across the country when both of these men were assassinated. You have the Black Power movement going on, and they're under attack as well. And we were rebelling against police brutality. You have Richard Nixon in the office, in the White House, and Richard Nixon ran in 1968 on the platform of law and order. He ran for president in 1968 on the platform of law and order. And law and order means to protect white people and lock up African Americans. That's what law and order means. Law and order means protect white people and lock up African Americans. And this is the platform that Richard Nixon ran on in 1968 as a backlash to the Black Power movement, as a backlash to the Civil Rights movement and the Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voting Rights Act of 65, any perceived gains that African Americans were getting. Same thing that Donald Trump did, the same hustle Donald Trump ran, okay, in 2016. And Trump is a combination of Richard Nixon and George Wallace, not George Wallace, king of the mama jokes, king of your mama jokes, but George Wallace, who's the governor of Alabama, the segregationist governor of Alabama, George Wallace. Okay, so you have this this movie that kicks off this genre of black exploitation films, and Sweetback comes out before Shaft. And Shaft is in that same genre of not taking anything from the man and fighting back. So there's a there's a documentary. There was a documentary that I saw. I've done a lot of research on these movies, on the history of African American cinema, things like this, right? And Donald Bogle is he's known as the godfather of black cinema, as far he wasn't an actor, but as far as a historian. So Melvin Van Peebles' fiercely independent legacy can be seen in some of the most notable black films of the past half century, from Spike Lee's She's Gotta Have It in 1986 to Barry Jenkins' Moonlight in 2016. His death arrives at a moment when African American storytelling has belatedly become ascendant in Hollywood. I don't even know, I didn't even know I had a legacy, Melvin Van Peebles told the New York Times in 2010 when asked about his reputation and influence. He said, I do what I want to do. I do what I want to do. I remember a episode, we're coming up on a break here. I remember an episode of Living Single when Melvin Van Peebles and Mario were both on the show Living Single. And then I think there was an episode, was it an episode of Girlfriends? I can't remember. But Melvin Van Peebles was iconic. We'll talk about this some more after the break. And then we have Felicia Hardin, one of the executive producers of the film Hapi, The Role of Economics in the Development of Civilization. She's coming up as well. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by. All right. Share this broadcasting on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App. Also through PayPal, paypal.me / the AHN Show. PayPal.me / the AHN Show, at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Stand by. We have Felicia Hardin coming up, executive producer of the film. She's one of the executive producers of the film Hapi. So this is our information here. This is our actual Cash App account, $ the AHN Show, SHOW. When you go to it, it'll show my name and have my picture there. These other ones are fake African History Network Cash App accounts. Okay. All right. Stand by. You can register for the 10-week online course that I teach on Saturdays, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. We deal with history from the Civil War through the Jim Crow era, through the World War I, World War II, Black Power movement, Civil Rights movement. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have information there. We have information here about the film Hapi and the screening of it taking place in Detroit, Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, Sunday, September 26, 3 p.m. I'll be moderating a panel discussion. And then we have information here about our online course that meets on Saturdays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a class that just started up As soon as you register, you can start watching the archive content because we do the class live and all the sessions are recorded. Stand by.
Superstation 910, the Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Thursday, September 23rd, 2021, and we are live. All my days are running together. So, I'm in this media class that Dr. Avis Jones, the Weaver, is teaches, and that class meets twice a day and doing everything else that I do. I'll be back on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday. I'm usually a panelist on every Friday on Roland Martin Unfiltered. So I'll be back on Friday, and we'll discuss that here on the show tomorrow. Okay. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for the new 10-week online course that I teach on Saturdays, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. And some of this information, we talked a little bit about some of this information on the panel discussion that I was on at 9 p.m. Today, dealing with the film Hapi. It was dealing with the state of Black America, things like this. And I was talking about reparations, but I was on with Dr. Leonard Jeffries and on with Felicia Hardin, who is executive producer of the film Hapi, The Role of Economics in the Development of Civilization. But this 10-week online course that I teach meets on Saturdays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we deal with a little more than 100 years of history, from the Civil War, 1861 to 1865, and what led up to the Civil War taking place, through the Jim Crow era, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, World War I, World War II, Civil Rights Movement, Black Power Movement. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Information is right there on the homepage. Click on register here. It takes you to the next page. Just click on enroll. As soon as you register, you can start watching the archive content. We do the classes live. All the sessions are recorded. You can watch them whenever you want to, even after the 10-week course is over with. Class is regularly $130, is on sale $70, and you get 6 bonus lectures from me as well. All right. Shakita, do we have Felicia on the line? Okay. Should be joined by Felicia in just a minute. Just come on the air. Let me know yes or no she's on the line. Oh, okay. All right. So we want to welcome to the African History Network show, executive producer of the film Hapi, Felicia Hardin. Now, Felicia was born in Detroit. She's Detroit born, and she is the executive producer of the film Hapi, The Role of Economics in the Development of Civilization. She trained as an occupational therapist at the prestigious Howard University. Many moons ago, Felicia volunteered as an actor for directors, taking a master level directing for film class with the esteemed Ethiopian filmmaker Haile Germia. Feeling like she won the lottery for so many reasons, she started to pursue a career as an actress in Washington, D.C. And we want to welcome to the African History Network show, Felicia Hardin. How you doing today, Felicia?
I'm good. How you doing, Michael?
Oh, I'm all right. It's just a long day. It's just a busy day. It was good seeing you earlier today, a couple hours ago, on the Hapi Talks, and I was on with one of my teachers, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, who we just had on the show on Sunday. And Dr. J, we had Dr. J on for 2 hours on Sunday. So he dropped a real history lesson, and I think that was my 18th time interviewing Dr. Leonard Jeffries. So that's my man right there. Oh yeah, Dr. J and Professor James Small. You know, I've been doing radio since 2010, so I've had them on numerous times. Those are 2 of my teachers right there. All right, so we have the screening of the film Hapi coming up here in Detroit, September 26, 3 p.m. at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. So tell us about this film. Tell us a little bit about this film, why people should come out, and you have a special announcement to make as well.
Yes, so this film, Hapi, is so crucial for us, for where Black folks are right now, right? And this idea of, not only cooperative economics, us working together, but right now it's crucial that we understand our history and understand that things, almost everything, started with us.
Right.
We have to really know that, and we have to own that, right? Because that's going to help us get through all the stuff that we're going to do right now. And the working together piece, if we understand the principles of Hapi, and Hapi is the ancient Egyptian name for the Nile River.
Mm-hmm.
But I know your audience knows this because when you were on the show, someone had said that you're like the human Google machine, and I was like, yes. I was like, you just like, man, you know everything.
I'm still learning. I just do a lot of research. That's all. But go ahead.
I really appreciate about you. That's what's up. But so but the more you know about yourself, then the better you can be, in a community, and then that's really how we can become independent. Financially independent community is by us knowing who we are, and Hapi is a mechanism for that to happen. So it's important for us to see this film because it's going to just reiterate some things that we already know, and we're going to learn a bunch of stuff that we don't know. But it's so important for us to do this work, and by supporting us, we support people that look just like us. So it's not,
right.
It's not one of these films where, you just go to the film and then that's it. No, we have a whole social movement behind what we're doing, the Hapi movement. And there's 4 distinct principles, that come along with being part of this movement. Number 1, loving Black people. Number 2 is supporting Black businesses. Number 3, becoming financially astute with your money. And number 4, teaching the youth the truth.
Okay.
So it's not just about this movie, it's bigger than that.
Okay, now you have the principles also on your website as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hapifilm.com.
Okay, hapifilm.com, HAPIFILM, hapifilm.com, and we'll bring it up here as well. Okay, now, so the screening is taking place on Sunday, September 26th, 3 p.m. at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. Okay, so you have a special announcement to make also. Go ahead and make the special announcement.
Yes, official announcement. So, we have a star-studded panel, but we are so excited because Dr. Leonard Jeffries is coming with us to Detroit.
Yes.
So that's going to be cool. He's going to be on the panel. And I don't know if people know, but you're hosting our panel, which is like double dopeness, so that's going to be really cool that you'll be there as well. And we got Dr. J coming through along with Chef Nessa.
Yes.
Jelani.
Yep. Chef Nessa.
Dr. Ken Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Malik Yakini. Demetrius Hutcherson from the First Independence Bank, and Ty Key. So it's going to be a nice panel, that you can only be able to see if you actually have a ticket and come to the screening.
Now, right. Now, how do people get tickets?
Hapifilm.com. HAPIFILM.com. And yeah, you go there as soon as you have the first page, you pick the city. And this is extra cool because we're starting our whole Hapi City tour in Detroit, my hometown.
Right.
And we'll be in Detroit this weekend, and then we move to Atlanta in October, and we're also doing Philly in October as well. In Houston, DC, and then Bridgeport, Connecticut. So we'll be around.
Now we have a link on our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have a link to hapifilm.com, and we have the flyer here also. So if you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, you scroll down, You'll see the information for the Hapi City Tour, which kicks off in Detroit Sunday, September 26th, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Tickets are $25, and then this includes the panel discussion as well. And just click on the link right here. It says Hapi Film, and it takes you to their page. And scroll down. They have the dates here. And then we have Detroit, and click right there on Detroit. And it will come up with the information for the Detroit date, and you can purchase tickets also. Okay, now featured in the film Hapi, you have Dr. Leonard Jeffries, you have Professor James Small, you have Dr. Julian Malveaux, you have Dr. Wade Nobles. So explain to people why it's so important to come out and see this film, and for the panel discussion. Explain to people here in Detroit and those who will be in the other cities why it's so important to come out.
So this is how we get the word to the masses. This is how the word, comes out. It's really by word of mouth. That's it. So it's like you'll come out, you bring your family, and then once you see and you experience Hapi, you are going to be inclined to tell someone else. And that's how we get this whole idea, this Hapi movement, this idea of cooperative economics, of knowing our history. This is how we get this out to everyone. And so it's so important for you to just see the film. We're just like, just come check out the film. Once you check out the film, then you'll be a Hapi believer, and you'll be able to spread the word to people who we don't necessarily have access to. And the panel discussions are very homegrown to each city that we're going to be in.
Okay.
Because a lot of, everything that we need to be doing needs to be fought at a local level. And these are the people that's doing it, that are going to be on our panel. They're doing things in the community, right in real time. And so we can have, definitive action steps as to things to do.
Okay.
So it's so important. This is a cultural day.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, the film Hapi presents a snapshot of our economic history spanning from the dawn of civilization to today. It begins by investigating the failure of a consumption-driven Black economy. And they have this information here on the website. So I'm going to pull this up here. Shakita, I just sent you the trailer for Hapi. Can you cue that up? We're going to go to that in just a second here. So the film later addresses so the film begins by investigating the failure of a consumption-driven Black economy, systematic poverty, disenfranchisement, and the decline of entrepreneurship. The film later addresses its complex problems and provides innovative ideas to successfully compete in the global economy. The underlying theme of the film Hapi is the interrelationship between the three essential components of economics, politics, and culture. Economics, politics, and culture, which is something Dr. Leonard Jeffries talked about a lot on Sunday when we had him here on the show on Sunday. Now, the producers of the film have brought together some of the brightest minds in psychology, history, and business to explore the big picture, the history of world economic development, and our present socioeconomic conditions. Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Zahi Hawass, Professor James Small, Jabari Osazi. There's a ton of people in the film, Dr. Wade Nobles as well. I was supposed to be in the film because Taki talked to me about this a few years ago when he was coming up with the concept, but we just could never connect. He's in the New York area, if I remember correctly, and we could never connect. But he said when they come out with the second one, I'll definitely be in that. So stand by, Felicia. Oh, thanks. Stand by, Felicia. I want to go to the trailer here for the film Hapi, and we'll come right back to you. Okay, let's go to this clip, Shakita.
Institution grown out of this country and white supremacy, the nation as a whole, including its laws and its institutions. What you have is a tension between nationalism and globalism.
They had to create something in the mind of the poor whites that distinguished them and separated them from the blacks. And that's where you developed what I call, or James Baldwin called, the religion of whiteness.
The police that answer to the politics of that community are going to be driven by the economics of that community because economics and politics overlap.
You know why I wanted to be a politician in a time when we disenfranchised? Because of power.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?
Tamir Rice, Sean Bell, Sandra Bland, Eric Garner, and Michael Brown, just to name a few.
They incorrectly classified their death as police brutality. However, it is in fact murder and a form of terrorism. It is ironically very similar to what took place during chattel enslavement. What steps can be taken to make it stop?
The devil Hapi.
Okay, pause right there. All right, so that's the trailer for the film Hapi. You can, it's on YouTube. You can watch it also at the website hapifilm.com. You can purchase tickets there also for the different city tours. We have a link on our website, africanhistorynetwork.com, to hapifilm.com. And we're speaking with Felicia Hardin, who is one of the executive producers of the film. Okay, now at the beginning of the interview, Felicia, you told us about the 4 principles of Hapi and the Hapi movement. Give us those principles again, and where is that on the website? Okay, Hapi movement at the top of the website. Let's see. Hapi movement. Okay, go ahead. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I had your line muted. Okay, so go back. You were talking about the 4 principles of the Hapi movement. Go ahead with the 4 principles, and it's at the website hapifilm.com.
Yeah. So the first one is to love Black people.
Okay.
Yep. Second one is to support Black businesses. The third one is to become more financially astute with your money. And number 4, to teach the youth the truth. And those, those things are, and we're going to add on a health, a health principle at some point, but we have to move in the way that we can be, we have to make sure we're doing things right before we kind of add more stuff onto what we're doing. But, those are the 4 basic principles right now. Love Black people. Support Black businesses, become more financially astute with your money, and then teach the youth the truth.
Okay.
These are all practical things, that you can do, that we can all do.
Absolutely. And the film highlights all of these as well and puts this in historical context also, and deals with the importance of African history and culture. Okay. So everybody visit the film Hapi, visit the website hapifilm.com. And how can people watch the panel discussion that I was on today?
Okay, so you came onto our Happy Talks presentation. So what's interesting is that we were supposed to premiere this film in April of 2020 at the Schomburg. And because of COVID, of course, that didn't happen. And we had to kind of reorganize or rethink how we were going to, get this film out.
Right.
One of the things we didn't want to do is, we didn't want to lose the audience that we had already garnered. and we had a sneak peek preview at Medgar Evers in March. And so the momentum was going. And then, now we was like, okay, what are we going to do? So we thought, this film contains 30 scholars. We were like, we're going to bring in one every, week and interview them. And we ended up calling this Happy Talks. And so we started out, with a couple hundred people on our YouTube page. And now we're well over 20,000 viewers. Which is really nice. But a lot of times people forget that we actually, or they don't, I don't even know if they forget, they may not even know that we have a full-length documentary. And
right.
So Happy Talks is like the, it's something that came out of that. But you were on our Happy Talks along with some of the other panelists that are going to be showing up on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So you just go to our YouTube page. Yep, go to our YouTube page, Happy Film, and you can check out all of the talks that we've had since April of 2020.
Okay. All right. And then also on YouTube, because I'm on the YouTube channel now, it's Hapi Talks, Hapi Film on YouTube, Hapi, Hapi Film on YouTube as well. And you can see the broadcast from Thursday, September 23rd. Hapi Talk Special Edition addressing the urban crisis in Black America. That was the topic today, the urban crisis in Black America. All right. And now, how can people purchase the film? Maybe they're in a city that doesn't have a screening, or maybe they say, I'm going to come. Okay, so when people come to Detroit, are you going to have a merchandise? You're going to have, would they be able to purchase the film? What's going to happen?
Okay, so yes, we are definitely bringing our merchandise. We roll everywhere we go. We bring merchandise.
Hey,
pay for our Happy employees.
Yeah, who you telling? You gotta, you have to have merchandise. Yeah, go ahead.
It's like that. Yeah, that's first and foremost. But yes, so if you cannot get to Detroit, you can just go to happyfilm.com, hit the merchandise button, and you can live stream. I mean, not live stream, but you can stream the film, like, get a digital download from Vimeo and watch it, or you can order a DVD copy. And also, the cool thing about the DVD copy is that we have Taki Grant, who is the director, producer, writer of Hapi. He also did 2 other full-length films.
Right.
So you get a chance to get all 3 of those. Nubia and the Tekken, which are really great. And the first Nubia is featuring Dr. Leonard Jeffries.
Mm-hmm.
We always talked about that trip. Yeah. And so, you could, and I just wanted to give you, Michael, a shout out, because one of the things that Taki always talks about is the fact that when Nubia came out, that you actually called him and ordered and paid for a copy.
Yep.
When other people were bootlegging it.
Mm-hmm. I ordered a number of them. I reordered from them also. Yes. That for Nubia and the Tekken. I went through him to do that. So that's what we have to do. Yeah, Nubia and the Tekken, and both of those documentaries. Now, we had Infodushi Jehuti Salim on the show last night, and he's in the film The Tekken. That's a brilliant brother right there. But yeah, Dr. J, I think that may have been the first documentary Dr. Leonard Jeffries was in. I think the Nubia one. Nubia came out first, right? Did Nubia come out? Yeah. Came out first. Okay, and that was like 2010, something like that. Because I remember the YouTube channel was still new. I didn't even have videos of myself back in 2010. So I was on Blog Talk Radio. I didn't have videos of myself, So yeah. We just really appreciate you just being, honest and supporting in a real way. Like that's what's up. Absolutely. Well, the African History Network will be there Saturday. We'll have a vendor table as well. You can check us out, and I have my DVD lectures there. And those in Detroit, you can register for the online courses that I teach. So we're gonna have a good time. So it's 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Sunday, September 26th. 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. Visit hapifilm.com for more information. We also have the information at our website, africanhistorynetwork.com, with a link to hapifilm.com. All right, Felicia, well, look, sister, it'll be good to see you back here in Detroit, and you have a good night. We'll talk to you later, okay? Tell Brother Taki I said Hotep.
All right. Hotep, and thank you. Peace and blessings.
All right, peace, sister. All right, that is Felicia Hardin, one of the executive producers of the film Hapi. Okay, I want to go back very quickly here. We're going to squeeze this in. All right, so cue up clip number 1, Shakita. That's from NBC Nightly News. That should be the one from September 22nd, because we with that jam-packed show yesterday, we had Brother Mfadushi on, who's a historian, and we went past like the amount of time we're going to have him on, so we did not give an update for Haiti yesterday. We're going to go to clip number 1 from NBC Nightly News in just a second, from September 22nd, because we did not give an update yesterday. At the top of the hour, we talked about the passing of icon, groundbreaking film director Melvin Van Peebles. Check out this piece here from the New York Times. We'll talk about this some more on our Sunday show, because Sunday we have 2 hours on Sunday, and I have so much going on that we ain't gonna be here too much longer, even going into overtime. But if we go back to this piece here from the New York Times, Melvin Van Peebles said he did not know that he had a legacy when he talked to the New York Times in 2010. He said, "I do what I want to do." Now, not only did Melvin Van Peebles write, direct, and score Sweet Sweetbacks and play the lead role, he also raised money to produce the film. Now, this is extremely important, because they did so when they had the film that came out years later, and Mario Van Peebles portrayed his father, and it dealt with the making of the movie and what he went through to get this movie made and raise money. Okay, it was Bill Cosby who came in and loaned him $50,000. Okay, when he couldn't get money from other people. The film demonstrated that a Black director could convey a high personal vision to a broad audience. For the first time in cinematic history, in America, a movie speaks out of an undeniable Black consciousness, said Sam Washington in the Chicago Sun-Times. In addition to making movies, Mr. Van Peebles published novels in French as well as English. He wrote 2 Broadway musicals and produced them simultaneously, and wrote and performed spoken word albums that many have called forebearers of rap. Over the course of his life, Melvin Van Peebles was also a cable car driver in San Francisco, a portrait painter in Mexico City, a street performer in Paris, a stock options trader in New York, the navigator of an Air Force bomber, a postal worker, a visual artist, and by his own account, a very successful gigolo. That's what he said. I ain't say that. That's what he said. Okay. I don't know if he left some lessons or something, or a book I could read, but that's what he said. Now, Melvin Van Peebles grandly called himself the Rosa Parks of Black cinema, along with the great Gordon Parks, whose 1971 film Shaft lionized a streetwise Black detective. He was among the first African-American filmmakers to reach a wide general audience. And I think Sweetback came out, I know it's the same year Shaft, but I think it came out before Shaft came out. I want to go to this clip here. This is from NBC Nightly News. We did not get a chance to do an update on Haiti yesterday. This is from September 22nd. More than 5,000 migrants still waiting beneath Del Rio Bridge. Let's go to this clip, Shakita.
On the Texas border, these are the faces of those who don't know what tomorrow holds. Our crew given rare access to the camp, more than 5,000 Haitian migrants still call home. And this has been the closest we've been allowed to get to this camp. And as we look this direction, it is hard to believe. Some of these men, women, and children have now been beneath this very bridge for more than a week, trying to create whatever shelter they can to stay cool. Everyone's future here, incredibly uncertain. Just 2 days ago, Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas with this public warning to migrants.
If you come to the United States illegally, you will be returned.
DHS officials tonight telling NBC News thousands of migrants who were under that bridge have been released into the United States. Many given notices to appear at an immigration center within 60 days to get a court date for an asylum hearing. Just yesterday, Mayorkas was pressed for specifics on the surge.
How many people have been returned? How many people are being detained? How many people have been dispersed to all points around America?
Senator, I would be pleased to provide you with that data.
I want them now. Why don't you have that information now?
Senator, I do not have that data.
Why not?
Back on the border,
Do me a favor, Shakita, just pause it right there for a second. Just pause it. Just pause the clip for a second.
State trooper cars lining the riverbanks. CPS tells us up to 600 Haitian migrants are now making their way towards Del Rio. But it's the other areas that have them worried.
The biggest concern right now is that we still have gaps along the border. We have individuals that we don't know who they are, where they're coming from, but they're crossing into our country.
And tonight we've seen government records suggesting where a few of these migrants may go. The administration seeking a private contractor to operate a detention facility at Guantanamo Bay with specific rules. Guards need to speak Spanish or Haitian Creole.
All right. I was saying stop the clip. I guess you didn't hear me. That cue up clip number 2 right quick, please. The second clip from NBC Nightly News. That idiotic senator that you heard berating Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security, that was dumbass Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. I mean, who never cared about black people a day in his life. He just grandstanding for Republicans. Go research Ron Johnson, conspiracy theorist Ron Johnson. Okay, that was who that was. All right. I want to go to this clip number 2. This is from September 23rd, and U.S. Special Envoy for Haiti resigns in protest over rising deportations. Let's go to this clip, please.
2,000 Haitian migrants still packed under this bridge, surviving on so little for more than a week. While back in Haiti, some who have been deported speaking out. One of them, Fedner Paulina, apologizing to the American people, but saying he and his family hope to make the journey yet again. The rising deportations sparking the U.S. Special Envoy to Haiti to resign in protest. Career diplomat Daniel Foote slamming the Biden administration's, quote, inhumane, counterproductive decision to deport thousands of migrants. Meantime, the White House under fire over these images of Border Patrol agents on horseback, announcing horses will no longer be used in Del Rio. And tonight, new questions over where many of the 15,000 migrants who were under that bridge have gone. The Department of Homeland Security announcing 1,400 migrants have been deported and 3,200 are in Border Patrol custody. But still no details on how many migrants were released into the United States. DHS officials have told NBC News that number's in the thousands.
They had an idea that life would be better for them here in America.
So many of the migrants released to wait for asylum hearings coming to Tiffany Burroughs' nonprofit shelter. This time last year, how many people would you help a week?
25.
And today?
In the last 3 days, over 1,000.
Now, her concern isn't running out of supplies, but attention.
Is that the numbers will go down, the media attraction of it all will disappear, and then we'll be hit with another wave.
This problem never goes away for you.
Right.
And an update on those government records suggesting that some of the migrants who crossed this river may have been headed to Guantanamo Bay. Tonight, the White House says there was some confusion, and that was never the case.
All right. Thanks for the update there. That's from NBC Nightly News from September 23rd, 2021. We'll talk about this some more on Sunday. Check out this article from the New York Times, an extensive article. I've read a number of them from Associated Press, and Associated Press has some good reporting on this as well. But thousands of Haitians allowed to stay in U.S. as Texas camp clears out. Border agents are making life-altering decisions for thousands of Haitian families on the border on whether they can stay in the U.S. or be deported. And I've been saying for years on this show, you need to have immigration reform. And black people were calling in saying immigration don't have nothing to do with black people. Now all of a sudden they give a damn. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also register for the 10-week online course that I teach on Saturdays, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching for a couple more minutes, and we'll keep going. And we'll be back tomorrow. Right now, it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. All right. Stand by. Let me disconnect this call. All right. Yeah, that was audio coming from the radio station. That's why you couldn't see the video, because I'm here in this studio. Radio stations in Southfield, Michigan. I'm in Detroit. They have us broadcasting from home because of COVID-19. Also because of I don't want to get this video get taken down because of stipulations on YouTube, all that stuff. All right, how's everybody doing? Stand by. Okay, if we very quickly here, if we look at this, because this is an extensive article from New York Times. We'll talk about this some more. I have a bunch of articles here. We'll talk about this some more on Sunday, and there's been a whole lot of misinformation floating around as well. Now, on Tuesday's show, we played a clip from NBC Nightly News that talked about how many of the Haitians are being allowed to stay in the U.S. and given a court date, and they have to return like in 60 days. We dealt with that on Tuesday, okay? And that was a clip from Monday from NBC Nightly News. Associated Press had an article that came out Tuesday after I got off the air, because I was laying in bed still reading articles. So it was like 2 a.m. or something, and the article from Associated Press came out that dealt with, let's see, which one is that from Associated Press? Many Haitian migrants camped in Texas border town being released in U.S., officials say. So being allowed to stay, and many have been released with notices to appear at an immigration office within 60 days, an outcome that requires less processing time from Border Patrol agents than ordering an appearance in immigration court, and points to the speed at which authorities are moving, the official said. Now, there needs to be clarification on, okay, now the actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play the clip since we're on my own time here. I'm going to play the clip from Monday. And it talked about how families are being allowed to stay to declare political asylum. This is from Monday, September 20th, NBC Nightly News. Let me find this clip just a second here. Let me go back here. Where is that? And it wasn't until like really Wednesday that in some of the news reports that they really started talking about the fact that many of them were being allowed to stay, okay, and have to go through the political asylum process. Now, here's something that's important. 97%, about 97%, and I was reading an article from CNN, and I'll post this here also. About 97% of the Haitians did not come directly from Haiti. They've been living in Central American countries for years. We talked about this on Tuesday's show. Okay, we talked about this on Tuesday's show when we dealt with the article, Del Rio Migrant Crisis. How did so many Haitians end up at the southern U.S. border? Okay, because on this show, we do a facts and evidence, and we go through and look at this thing chronologically. What happened? All right. So many of them fled Haiti because of the 2010 earthquake, and they've been living in Central American countries for years, and now they're being expelled out of Central American countries. Okay. And there was misinformation put out about the U.S. having open borders and things like this. So they're coming. They're coming through the Central American countries, coming through Del Rio. And when we look at the article, it was from the USA Today, September 21st, 2021, and it talked about how many of them were coming through Central American countries on buses as opposed to walking, and they got here much faster than they normally would have as well. So it's crazy. This clip right here from, let me see, this is was that the one that we did? This one right here from the 20th. This should be the right one. NBC Nightly News from September 20th. September 20th was Monday. We're going to cue this clip up again. So we'll go to this. Okay, now while that cues up and get past the ad, let's look at this here. Then I'll show you the one from September 21st from USA Today that we talked about here on this show. In Houston, nearly 2,000 Haitian migrants have arrived this week. Now, this article is from September 23rd, Thursday, September 23rd. In Houston, nearly 2,000 Haitian migrants have arrived this week from the small border community of Del Rio, Texas. Del Rio is about 35,000. The population of Del Rio, Texas is about 35,000. With buses pulling up to a huge shelter nearly every hour. In San Antonio, Texas, hundreds more have been allowed by the U.S. authorities onto flights to destinations as far away as New York, Boston, and Miami, paperwork in their pockets, permitting them to remain in the country. Okay. So one of the things that we don't do here is deal with all this hype and sensationalism, all this stuff. We deal with facts and evidence as much as we know them. Okay. And give you the sources so you can go research this yourself. You can go read this yourself. Now, Immigration and Customs Enforcement has deported about 2,000 migrants in recent days on chartered flights to Haiti as the Biden administration tries to deter more people from rushing to the border. Now, as we talked about on Tuesday's show, there's 20,000 Haitians in Colombia. There's 20,000 Haitians in Colombia, and it's possible they could come here. We don't know for certain. It's possible they can come here. NBC News had reporting on that. We talked about this on our Tuesday show. So go back and listen to the Tuesday show. That was from September 21st. Let's see here. I want to go to this clip here from NBC Nightly News. This is from Monday, September 20th, because we've got this queued up. Stand by.
Tonight in Del Rio, Texas, this is where thousands without a home wait to see where they'll go tomorrow. Still, more than 10,000 migrants in this massive camp, mostly Haitians, surviving in makeshift shelters. The group swelling to nearly 15,000 strong this weekend until a mass convergence of law enforcement. Hundreds of state troopers in cars and Border Patrol agents on horseback, blocking more people from crossing the river into the United States.
It's heartbreaking.
Del Rio Mayor Bruno Lozano says calls for help from the Biden administration were mostly ignored till it was too late.
I've seen just the desperate looks of the people just trying to get processed. I mean, it's a completely dire situation.
Our crew granted exclusive access to speak with those whose future remains uncertain. This woman named Evo told me she's barely eaten over the last week, adding she left Haiti years ago. Today, Texas Governor Greg Abbott requested a federal emergency declaration, blaming the Biden administration for failing to enforce immigration laws and halt illegal crossings. Federal authorities say they've removed 3,300 migrants here so far, 327 deported to Haiti, others taken to different processing centers in the United States. Senior DHS officials telling NBC News the administration will prioritize deporting single Haitian adults and families not claiming asylum. Unaccompanied children and most families asking for asylum can stay in the U.S. DH Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas visited Del Rio today, defending the federal response.
Were there enough in place for this surge?
I don't think we expected the rapidity of
the increase that occurred.
What would you tell the woman I met under the bridge that if she goes back to Haiti, her life's in danger?
We are realistic about the human tragedy of this, but we have a responsibility not only to the well-being of the migrants themselves, but the well-being of the local communities and the American public.
Morgan, there's been a lot of attention today on some of those images of agents on horseback doing crowd control, and there's questions over what they were holding. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Lester, White House spokesperson Jen Psaki called those images horrific to watch, but said she needed more information before officially making a comment. Meanwhile, Secretary Mayorkas here in Del Rio says it appears those were the riders' reins for the horse, but did promise to investigate. We're told that agents are not equipped with whips and ride horseback for their own protection.
All right, so that's from Monday, September 20th, NBC Nightly News. We played that on the show Tuesday. I'm going to post a link here. You can go watch all this and research all of this yourself also. September 20th, the DHS Secretary on migrants in Del Rio. Officials did not expect the rapidity of the increase. Okay, so we've been covering this pretty much each day. There's some days that we didn't have time to cover this. We just posted this link here, NBC Nightly News. Go watch that, research that also. All right, now, and in that clip, they talked about how families seeking asylum generally would be allowed to stay. Okay, so if we go back to this piece here from New York Times, Immigration and Customs Enforcement has deported 2,000 migrants in recent days on chartered flights to Haiti as the Biden administration tries to deter more people from rushing to the border. But the authorities have also permitted thousands to travel to cities across America. But the authorities have also permitted thousands more to travel to cities across America where they may live for months or years as they await immigration hearings. So this, as we talked about on the show Tuesday, this part of the narrative is being left out of a lot of this talking, because I've watched a lot of it on cable news and Black News Channel, things like this. A lot of this is being left out. The other thing is that I'm hearing more talk from the right wing, from conservatives, about you're unleashing these Haitians into the community and where are they going and things like this. Now, where they're going is a question if you're concerned about their well-being, but I'm hearing because I've been reading stuff from Fox News and things like this. So I'm hearing something that is a fear of, like, okay, we're being invaded by Black people. And you're letting them come into the country. And now where they're going to go, what are they going to do? Now, if you're concerned about their well-being and where they're going to stay, things like that, that's one thing. But I'm hearing this fear of, these Black people are coming in. So that's a whole nother dynamic. Now, see, Governor Greg Abbott, Republican, look, Governor Greg, in this article, now I posted this on my Facebook fan page. I actually posted on my personal Facebook page from CNN a couple of days ago. A line of Texas Department of Public Safety vehicles lined the bank of the Rio Grande near an encampment of migrants this week, because Governor Greg Abbott had them line up these vehicles to keep the Haitians out. We had them line up these vehicles to keep the Haitians out. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, now do you want them to stay out and don't come, and then you bring them in, then you get criticized and say, oh, you letting all these black people in. It's just crazy. The first one that I saw about this, about what Governor Greg Abbott was doing, is from CNN. I'm going to pull this up here from CNN. Because Greg Abbott is blaming the Biden administration for not sending enough resources so they could repel these Haitians coming in. Because if you go research Governor Greg Abbott, he ain't trying to let them come in. Let me see. Let me pull this up here. I'm scrolling through this. Okay, we'll look at this one quickly here from this was the first one from Associated Press. Many migrants staying in U.S. even as expulsion flights rise. But so that's why you heard Senator Ron Johnson, Republican of Wisconsin, grilling Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. Okay, asking, okay, how many are being allowed to come in? Where are they going? Blah blah blah. That's the same guy. That if you don't know who Senator Ron, if you don't know who these people are, you just hear stuff and think he's concerned. No, Senator Ron Johnson is the same dumbass who said about the January 6th insurrection, he didn't fear those insurrectionists, okay, because they were Trump supporters. He said he'd be a little worried if they were Black Lives Matter activists. That's Senator Ron Johnson. This one here from CNN, September 21st, 2021. So when I heard him ask those questions at the Senate hearing, I knew he was trying to make the highlight reel of Fox News and Newsmax that evening to say to the white supremacists, okay, we're going to, we trying to repel these people. Okay. And we're trying to, if you let them in, now we want to monitor them because we trying to keep them out of your neighborhood. This one right here, September 21st, 2021, CNN, September 21st was Tuesday. And I saw this late. I saw this after we got off the air Tuesday night. Texas governor, dumbass Governor Greg Abbott, Republican of Texas, who's against mask mandates in schools to protect children, approves mile-long steel barrier of police vehicles to deter the more than 8,000 migrants in Del Rio. You go through, I think they have a picture of it because I saw it. Okay, thousands of Haitians are in South America waiting to come to the U.S. See, that's the other thing. Now you got there are up to 30,000 Haitians in Colombia who may be seeking to travel north, and Panama expects 80,000 migrants to cross its border on the way to the U.S. by the end of this year. As of early September, more than 70,000 migrants arrived in Panama in 2021, more than 30,000 of whom are from Haiti. I think they have the I think they have the picture of the whole line of cars. I thought maybe it's just in the thumbnail of this article when you post it on Facebook. But this one, read this one here from CNN. Now, this other one here from New York Times, they show the line of cars, but I've seen other pictures of it. Okay, and this is to keep them out. So, Governor Ron DeSantis, I mean, not Ron DeSantis, another dumbass governor, Governor Greg Abbott, when he's blaming the Biden administration, they want resources to keep them out, not to let them come in and seek asylum. Okay, quote, We are so happy. Okay, this and so Isaac. Okay. On Wednesday, the family boarded a flight to New York where they plan to stay with relatives on Long Island. Quote, "We want to start a new life here," end quote, he said. A chance to settle in the United States, however slim, has driven the latest surge, compelling more than 14,000 migrants to wade across the Rio Grande and into Del Rio, Texas over the past week, where they have encountered armed National Guard troops and Border Patrol agents on horseback. On Thursday, about 3,100, Thursday, September 23rd, about 3,100 remained huddled in squalid conditions under the international bridge that connects Del Rio, Texas to Mexico, circumstances that have prompted outrage from both Republicans and Democrats. Okay. But Republicans are not really trying to help and have immigration reform, because you need reform to the immigration laws. You needed that for years. Images of the agents on horseback rounding up migrants and of dozens of state police vehicles blocking entrances across the river have fueled criticism from Democratic lawmakers and administration officials that the Haitians are being treated inhumanely. Okay, let's see. Okay, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki. It was unclear on Thursday, September 23rd, how many Haitians had been deported as opposed to being allowed to enter the country and await asylum hearings. All told, nearly 2,000 Haitians had been returned to Haiti by late Thursday, about 40% of them family units, according to a Department of Homeland Security official. Resettlement groups said they were aware of about a roughly equal number from Del Rio, Texas, who had been given permission to stay in the country. Under Benedict Donald, the trader-in-chief, Donald Trump, the asylum system was essentially brought to a halt, as almost no migrants were allowed to enter the country while their claims for protection were heard. Instead, they were required to remain in Mexico, often settling in decrepit camps near the border. By contrast, the Biden administration has allowed more to enter and remain in the United States while their asylum cases unfold. But because the immigration courts are severely backed up, the process can take several years. Because the immigration courts are severely backed up, the process can take several years, allowing people to effectively settle in the United States. If they lose their cases or do not attend their court hearings, and remain in the country illegally, they would be joining millions of undocumented immigrants already living in the shadows. At the San Antonio airport on Wednesday, September 22nd, on Wednesday evening, a number of Haitian families who had been in Del Rio, Texas, waited to board planes to various American cities. Mr. Isaac, holding a paper that instructed him to report to an immigration and customs enforcement office within 15 days of arriving in New York, said he would need to find a lawyer. But that felt like an easy task after spending $12,000 in several weeks traversing South and Central America by foot and bus and swimming in dirty rivers. Read the rest of this article. It's an extensive article from New York Times. This is from September 23rd, 2021. Okay. I got a bunch of articles. This is the type of research I do. That's just one. This is one of the subjects, current events, all this stuff. This is the type of research I do. This is why you don't see me involved in a whole bunch of gossip and all this BS on social media. I don't have time for that. This last piece here dealing with this, and we'll talk about this some more, especially on Sunday show, because we're on 2 hours on Sunday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. This one here we talked about on the 21st. This gives a lot of background information because I'm sitting here reading, I'm watching all the broadcasts, I'm reading all this. I'm trying to figure out, how did this explode so quickly? You go from 5,000 last week, Wednesday, something like that, to like 15,000. How does it explode so quickly? What happened? And it in this piece here, and there's some other ones as well. There's a really good one from Washington Post that I have also. Because I read New York Times, Washington Post. It's about 35 different news sources that I monitor daily. But this one right here from the USA Today. This one was like the first article that really pulled everything together and gave this background information. Let me pull this up here. Okay, this one is Del Rio migrant crisis. How did so many Haitians end up at the U.S. southern border? How did so many Haitians end up at the U.S. southern border? Now, once again, I remember under the Trump administration, and you had the migrants there at the southern border, many of them from Mexico and Central American countries. You had some Africans, they were from Nigeria, Cameroon, Congo. And I talked about it here on this show, and I said it's a humanitarian crisis, and we had Black people call in and said they don't have nothing to do with us. We just want to deal with Black issues. And I said immigration impacts everybody. But I said immigration impacts African Americans because immigrants of African descent are the first ones to be deported. Okay, even if they're supposed to be here, they're the first ones to be deported. I said this does deal with us, and people say no, we don't want to. They ain't help build the country. All this stuff. And okay. Del Rio. Let's look at this here. Del Rio migrant crisis. How did so many Haitians end up at the southern border? Okay, this is from USA Today, and many. Can we close this out? Hold on. Okay. Many of those migrants, experts say, were likely in Central America as powerful natural disasters and an often dysfunctional government prompted a steady flow of outmigration for more than a decade. This is deep what's happening. Overwhelming majority of them, 97% of them, didn't just come from Haiti because of the assassination of Jovenel Moise and the earthquake that just happened, and then came here. No, the overwhelming majority of them have been living in Central American countries for years and left Haiti largely because of the 2010 earthquake. And now they're being pushed out of Central American countries and they're coming here. But now, with economic opportunities drying up in Latin America, as the pandemic continues, Haitian migrants are seeking asylum in the U.S. Quote, the end goal is always the United States, end quote, said Eduardo Gamara, a professor of political science at the Florida International University. He said, quote, and the pattern is one that wasn't really begun by the Haitians. It was begun by the Cubans. They're the ones who set the trail. This is a deep article. This goes deep into this history, and it talks about the Haitians' labor being exploited in these Central American countries. Okay, so it talks about 2010 earthquake, and then because I have notations here on this article, I printed it up. Okay, right here, page 2. It takes you back. Brazil was facing, okay, so 2010 earthquake spurs migration. Devastating earthquake 2010 in Haiti displaced more than 1.5 million people from the island nation of Haiti. Afterwards, many Haitians left their homeland for South and Central America. Quote, Brazil was facing a labor shortage because they were building stadiums for the World Cup and the Olympics, said Mark Schuler, a professor at Northern Illinois University and president of the Haitian Studies Association. Okay, so their labor was being used, then those projects ended, and then the Haitians were being pushed out. Haitian migration was a solution to their labor problem. Haitian migration was a solution to their labor problem, he said. In Brazil, Haitian migrants were granted work visas for the 2014 World Cup and 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. They were also able to obtain residency for humanitarian reasons. By August 2020, there were more than 140,000 Haitians in Brazil, according to El País, a daily newspaper in Spain. By August 2020, that's last year. Other South American countries also welcome Haitian migrants, including Venezuela and Chile. In Chile, the Haitian population jumped. In 2017, there was 64,567 Haitians in Chile, with an estimated 150,000 there a year later. In 1 year, the population of Haitians in Chile more than doubled. But after the Olympics and the need for cheap labor expired, Haitian migrants were pushed out of Brazil, said Gabriel Apollon, the co-director of the Haiti Mining Justice and International Accountability Project. So they used their cheap labor in these Central American countries. They use their cheap labor in Brazil, things like this, okay, and then pushed them out. Haitian migrants were pushed out of Brazil, okay, after the Olympics and the need for cheap labor expired. The exodus of Haitian people fleeing the country can also be attributed to a staggering increase in human rights violations in Haiti within the past 10 years. Read the rest of this article. We went through this on Tuesday, but read this one again. This gives a lot of background information, a lot of history to understand how we got to this point. Okay. Very quickly, quick update here. We'll talk about this some more probably tomorrow. The sad story dealing with Jelani Day, missing Illinois State University student and also Alabama State University student as well. His body was found today. So this is a very sad story here. And a body found in river identified as Jelani Day. And you have a lot of African-American families saying that they want their loved ones who are missing to get the same news coverage as white people like Gabby Petito who are missing. Okay, because there's I've said this before. See, you only protect what you respect, and we have to understand a system of white supremacy and racism, and you only protect what you respect. So when you have African people who are devalued, and you have producers of news stations and news programs, and the producers are overwhelmingly white, then they gravitate to stories about missing people who look like them. They gravitate to stories of missing people who look like them, and because they value that more, and because you deal with a system that has devalued African people, okay, this is what you end up with. Now, at the same time, I've said, and I did this post on Facebook, on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. I think it got like 5,000 likes, something like that. And it was an African American sister holding up a sign saying, I'll be happy, something like, I'll be happy when the day comes when Black lives matter to Black people. Because I've said also that we have to value our lives as well. This is why we have to stop calling one another the N-word, stop calling our sisters B's and H's and things like this. Because when you put these negative pejorative terms on each other that will put on us by other people, then you internalize the devaluation. You internalize the dehumanization, and at the same time that dehumanization gets marketed, it gets commodified, and it gets marketed around the world, and it conditions people and trains people on how to treat you and mistreat you. The way people treat you is largely based upon the way they think about you. The way they think about you is largely based on what they've read, seen, and heard about you. Body found in river identified as Jelani Day, missing Illinois State University student. Let me see. Let's close this out. Let's go to, can we pull that up here? All right. Just a second. I'll close out some of these tabs here in Google Chrome. Relatives said it has been painful to see the disparities between the handling of Jelani Day's disappearance and that of Gabby Petito, whose death drew national attention. The body of missing Illinois State University graduate student has been recovered after a month-long search that drew criticism from family members who said law enforcement officials were not taking his disappearance as seriously as that of Gabby Petito, a 22-year-old white woman. Now, I don't think anybody's saying don't take anybody's disappearance serious. We're not saying don't take other people's disappearance seriously. We're saying, wait a second, give us the same level of concern, right, that you give blonde-haired white women. Let me just say it like that, because this is my show. I don't want to beat it around, but the same concern that you give blonde-haired, quote-unquote, pretty white women that are photogenic and look good when they come up on the cable news screen or what have you, give that same concern for African Americans, especially African American women and children and things like this. On Thursday, the LaSalle County coroner identified a body found floating in the Illinois River this month as that of Jelani J.J. Day, 25 years old, of Bloomington, Illinois. Jelani Day, who is African American, was in his first semester of graduate school in the Communication Sciences and Disorders Department at Illinois State University in Normal. He was studying speech pathology. Jelani Day was last seen on campus August 24th, and his last known location was at Beyond Hello Cannabis Dispensary in Bloomington, Illinois, law enforcement officials said. 2 days later, his car was found about an hour north of Peru, Illinois. Authorities combed the area for several days using dogs, drones, and ground search rescue teams. A cause of death has not been determined. His family is one of several who told NBC News it has been painful to see the disparities between the cases of their loved ones and Gabby Petito's, whose disappearance and death drew national attention. Jelani Day's brother, DeAndre Day, said, "I understand what Petito's family is going through because we're going through that right now." Jelani just did not disappear. Somebody knows what happened. Somebody needs to report what happened. He said we need everybody involved the same way they were involved with Gabby. So read this here from NBC News. Body found in river identified as Jelani Day, missing Illinois State University student. There's also a piece here from NBC News that deals with, and we'll probably talk about this Sunday. This one here, where the various families, African-American families, are coming together saying, pull this up here, talking about the disparate treatment when African-Americans are missing. Families of missing Black men plead for more resources and accountability from police. Families of missing Black men plead for more resources and accountability from police. I want the same manpower for my brother, DeAndre Day, brother of Jelani Day, said while speaking of Gabby Petito's case. Jelani Day, Daniel Robinson, and Xavier Smith are some missing African-American men that have been gaining more attention, largely in African-American media. African-American media spaces, not very little in mainstream white targeted media. David Robinson hired a private investigator and has traversed the Arizona desert with volunteers in search of his 24-year-old son, Daniel, a geologist who went missing in late June 2021. Rashida in Aurora, Colorado, said she did not hear from police for more than a week after she reported that her stepson, Xavier, had run away earlier this month. David Robinson, Xavier Smith, and relatives of Jelani Day, an Illinois State University graduate student who has not been seen since August, all have something in common. They're Black people who are exasperated after pleading with authorities to do more to find their loved ones. Their frustration with law enforcement intensified as stories about the disappearance of Gabby Petito, a 22-year-old white woman, dominated the national news cycle. The result, some say, of missing white woman syndrome, as Joanne Reed said on MSNBC, The Readout, missing white woman syndrome. Now, and let's do this here. Let's pull this up here. Now, Gwen Ifill, the Gwen Ifill, the legendary, let me see, can we look at this here? Let me pull up this one right here just a second. This is from the Readout blog, Joanne Reed, the Readout blog. This is by Jahan Jones. Yes, the media is suffering from missing white woman syndrome. It's not wrong to care about Gabby Petito, but it's wrong to focus on her case exclusively. Let's see here. Now, Gwen Ifill, the legendary news anchor, coined the term missing white woman syndrome in 2004 to underscore the news media's fascination with white women who go missing. The families watched as at least 6 agencies, including the FBI, devoted resources in the search of Gabby Petito, whose remains were found Sunday at the Spread Creek at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area in Bridger-Teton National Forest near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. Now, David Robinson, 51, a retired Army sergeant, said, quote, "I've been pushing for 3 months to raise awareness because I'm not getting enough from the police department. I want the FBI involved." He said, "When you're a person of color, you kind of get overlooked. You don't want to believe that, but when it hits you head on, you can't do nothing but see what's going on." So read this article here from NBC News also. Families of missing Black men plead for more resources and accountability from police. That is from September 23rd, 2021. From September 23rd, 2021. All right. Look, we're going to get out of here. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. All of my DVD lectures and digital downloads are available at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can also register for the online courses that I teach as well. Because we have one on Saturdays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now, it's correct wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk